Juiced is one of my favorite racing games from my childhood. This is because I used to win sprint after sprint in my Subaru Impreza. This game was my go-to when I was bored and had time to kill. I'd just turn on my Xbox and boot up this game. It was also difficult for me when I was younger. Let's just say I was a very bad driver at 8 years old. Regardless, I've been meaning to tackle this game for some time. This review is my first in over a year, so I might be a little rusty, and format changes are going to be abundant. So without further delay, here is Juiced on PC. Juiced is a street racing game in a similar layout to the 2003 bestseller Need for Speed Underground. That game had closed tracks, licensed cars, mainly tuners, and a plentiful amount of customization options. Combine this with a large world with many tracks, this was a recipe for success. Juiced in a sense was Acclaim's answer to the game, until they filed for bankruptcy. THQ acquired Juiced Games and the Juiced IP, along with other IPs. The old Acclaim versions have surfaced online, showing THQ having an influence on the final product. What would have happened if Acclaim didn't file for bankruptcy is unknown, but if Juiced released in 2004 instead of 2005, the game would have been hugely different and in my opinion, would have done better by preceding other Need for Speed ripoffs by a year or two. This review will be split up into 4 categories accessible through the description. They are as follows: the good, the bad, overall opinion / verdict, and the game's legacy. Anyway, let's get started. The good. Juiced has a healthy selection of cars, from Corvettes to Miatas and most recognizable cars in between. The cars are separated into classes, from 8 being the lowest performance to 1 being the highest performance. Stock cars can go up to 6, but upgrades can make cars go up classes. Classes have certain cars that are overpowered and underpowered, but this is something I'll talk about in the bad. The game looks okay on console, but looks fantastic on PC. Even the Xbox version does not compare to the PC version. There are 10 characters to race with, each having 2 other crew members for crew races. So the player, after winning so many races, gets a phone call from one of 3 random crew members to join your crew. This game has respect levels for each leader, and you can earn respect by completing tasks which they are skilled in, such as TK with circuits. Respect in this game is used as currency for progression. This is a way to show how far you've come in a certain area, and is also used to enable certain features with these crew members, such as pink slip races, hosting events in their territory, etc. With some members you even having to gain respect to even race in their territory, this is one of the game's core features. This encourages the player to be as skilled in as many areas as possible. However, there is no plot, so the game basically runs forever. This could be good or bad depending upon how you feel. There are 4 game modes in Juiced: circuits, point-to-points, sprints, and show-off events. Circuits are pretty basic. Race around the track for a specified amount of laps, place first, you win. Point-to-point is the same thing except it's literally a point-to-point. Sprints, however, are confusing because sprints are basically drag races from Need for Speed games. However, these are still good modes, but the name change is weird and it can be confusing to some. Show-off events are where you perform stunts to get as many points as possible. The bad. This game has a good amount of flaws. These can range from nitpicks to technical issues to real game-breaking issues. But to begin, here are the nitpicks. Firstly, the cars in Class 8 handle like boats. This is because the handling in the game is dependent upon your car's acceleration, but it seems Class 8 has this improperly set up because all the other classes have no issues. In Classes 7 and 6, the only car that cannot be beat in the sprint race is the Subaru Impreza 22B. That car is extremely overpowered in those classes. Also in Class 1 there are only 2 vehicles to choose from, and they are prototype cars to boot. This takes away from the variety present in Classes 8 through 5. Also, If you have multiple monitors plugged in, the game will crash on startup. These are the real issues, the crashing ones. The game requires Windows XP Service Pack 3 to be selecting Windows compatibility mode, otherwise the game will crash and will have a virtual memory error code. Also, if you Alt-Tab in the game in the options menu or just the menu in general, the game will crash upon exiting that menu. The controller support is pretty much non-existent due to the menu for the controls being extremely hard to navigate and certain controls cannot be changed on the keyboard. So you can't use WASD to drive. That's right, you only have the arrow keys. Also, the brake and reverse keys are separate keys. So for example, if you spin out, you have to hit the down arrow to stop, then the end key to reverse, making all chances of comebacks impossible. Finally, the game has only 16:10 or 4:3 aspect ratios. To change this to 16:9 or 21:9 requires hex editing the executable of the game. Regardless, I enjoy Juice. It's a fun time waster racing game. The racing is fun, the car selection is great, and the game overall is engaging. However, the game has plenty of issues, mostly on the PC version, but these issues can turn off people buying the game. For example, the Class A cars handling like boats, these are the first cars to choose from. Also, the PC version technical issues will turn many people away to the point where Juice crashed in a few of a famous YouTuber named Black Panther's videos of the game. Also, the game has no true conclusion. The racing goes on until you close the game. This can definitely turn off a good chunk of people. Juiced is a great racing game held back by the acclaimed debacle and technical issues on the PC port. The racing is fun, the customization is limited but still cool, and the crew racing creates a sense of strategy. However, with the abundance of PC issues and car balancing issues once you get past Class 5, the game can be a tough sell. The lack of a proper conclusion can deter people who still want an ending. I would still recommend this game to most racing game fans. It's a fun game for a little while. The game's legacy. Juice leaves behind an era of racing games, where each one mimicked the Fast and the Furious films. This also was an era of fantastic street racing games. However, with new consoles coming out in 2005 and 2006, and gamers moving to online first-person shooter games such as Halo and Call of Duty, this even left Need for Speed on a quest to regain the once large following that peaked with Most Wanted in 2005, and an identity crisis that Need for Speed is fixing right now, but it's been plenty of years. Going from 15 million to 8 million sales is a pretty big dip, and the decline did not stop there. Racing games would be put on the back burner as Call of Duty and Battlefield started to corner the market. Now with that market becoming stale and Need for Speed Payback on the horizon, racing games just might make a triumphant return to the mainstream, more than 10 years later. So anyway, how is this review? Leave a like if you enjoyed. So anyway, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.